My name is Luyanda. I used to think Johannesburg's concrete canyons were made of opportunity, streets humming with possibility, glass office towers shining with dreams. But ambition is heavy in this city. If you don't carry it carefully, it crushes you. The video reached me on a Tuesday morning when the sun was punking us with false hope through my kitchen window. I was scrolling through Instagram, still groggy slow, when I saw the notification. You've been tagged in 33 posts. That punch of anxiety, old and familiar. My cousin Zainal had uploaded a 15-second clip of me from last Sunday's family lunch. I was standing by the sink, speaking quietly about my latest idea, a line of clothes inspired by my grandmother's old Xhosa beadwork, done modern, boundary breaking. I had been passionate, hands tracing shapes in the air, imagining textures. Unbeknownst to me, Zainal had filmed it, chuckling. The video's title read, Luyanda the next Chanel #Delulu much. My family crowded the frame behind me, their faces barely masking laughter. Tandy, my aunt, muttered, "You better get a real job before you stitch your own hunger, HM. Even in replay, the phrase found its way into my gut. The comments were brutal. Too much Pinterest, not enough talent. Ag, everyone wants to be famous now, get a grip. Even my own brother left a row of crying laughing emojis. I closed my phone, but the digital echo followed me. The city outside offered no shelter. Johannesburg in June, hard sun, wind full of sand and taxi shouts, the hasty clack of shoes on pavement. I wore my only self-made denim jacket, seams rough where my scissors trembled. That morning I fastened every button as if it would guard my ribs from invisible missiles. My mother called me after she saw the video. She didn't tell me not to dream. Instead, she asked if I was eating enough, if my rent was paid. I heard the worry veiled in her soft voice, old disappointment from when I dropped out of accounting. Maybe you can come home for a bit. No, there's work at Mr. Price. They always need tellers. I refused gently. I wouldn't go back, not yet, not before I had something real to show. It was not the first time ridicule circled me. When I chose fashion over commerce, the laughter came from our church's pews, my cousin's group chat, even from my father, the sternest skeptic. He said fashion is for other people's children, not for us struggling with Eskom bills. Still, studios and sketchbooks called louder than logic, work dried up quickly. The little freelance jobs, alterations, prom dresses, hemming pants, while they paid rent for a time, didn't add up to enough. There were weeks I stretched a tin of pilchards for 4 dinners or borrowed bread from my neighbor Nandi, who once said, "Never let them see you hungry, Luyanda. Even if your dreams can't feed you yet." At night, when the city wound down to distant music and stray taxi horns, I sewed by the dull light of my phone torch. I cut and stitched on my own thighs, fingers pricked, sometimes bleeding into the blue denim or striped cotton, the pain a price for my stubbornness. I told myself, you wait, they'll eat those words one day. But the path curved low, much lower than I'd imagined. Every pitch to shops was met with polite smirks. One buyer even told me, "Honey, South Africans want brands, not boldness," then handed back my portfolio without looking inside. I stood at the crossroads of Newton, my cardboard folder useless, feeling every snicker from home bouncing in my brain. My childhood apartment, 1 room up in Yeovil, echoed loudly. This is not for people like us. But still, hands trembling, I stuck my sketches under my arm and joined the bustling Saturday market on Fox Street. Table rents were expensive. I bargained for half a spot near the toilets. My rack sagged with handmade things, a recycled bomber jacket lined with shweshwe, a patchwork skirt, beadwork sneaking along cuffs and collars. Shoppers passed me for bigger stalls, familiar brands, real signage. But now and then, someone would pause, run their fingers over meticulous beadwork, buy a hairband, ask, "Did you do all this?" "Yes," I'd say, "with these hands." The days blurred into one another. Hunger and hope, never truly absent, became a rhythm. When I sold my first full suit, a bold crimson thing, sharp shoulders softened by intricate bead cuffs, I thought maybe I could crawl forward. A photographer named Keddy, big glasses, bigger smile, stopped by my stall one muggy Sunday. She loved my skirts, tried on 3 over her jeans. "You're different," she said. "You have a story in your seams." She asked if she could use my pieces for a photo shoot. I almost choked on my coffee, of course. She brought models the next Saturday, styled them in my weirdest, boldest items. A mesh vest with giant beaded epaulettes, a skirt made from deconstructed soccer jerseys. The images when they came back were magic. The pieces moved alive in the Golden City dusk. Keddy posted them online, tagged my tiny account. The likes rolled in slow at first, then, after she shared the right one, a surge. A few stores DM'd asking about stockists or whether I could make limited runs. The days that followed were a storm of cutting, sewing, emailing, shipping, barely sleeping. Months passed, I met with a boutique owner who looked at my beadwork like it was treasure. She asked me to make a full collection for their May window, something defiantly Johannesburg, she said. I spent every night at the sewing machine, singing to myself, scavenging fabric from warehouse offcuts, asking friends for help when my fingers knotted with fatigue. The May window collection changed my life. On launch night, the glass gleamed with my 10 proudest pieces, daring combinations of tradition and futurism, beadwork shining like city lights in winter. Local press came, some influencers. People I had never met wanted to pose in my things. Someone from Vogue Africa bought my green velvet coat on the spot. Within a year, my name threaded quietly, then loudly through the right circles. Event stylists, musicians, TV hosts. An order came for an international film festival's red carpet, one of my bomber jackets. Orders began to pile up, overwhelming, wonderful. I built a brand with the money. Stockists in Braamfontein and Cape Town, racks of clothes that held a piece of myself in every stitch. Interviews followed. What do you call your style? They asked. Urban heritage, I said, for people who want to remember and reimagine all at once. But home was silent. My mother watched from the margins, liking an Instagram post now and then. My cousins only tagged me when someone famous wore my clothes, half joking, as if my success was a meme. Years passed. I stopped answering group chats, attended Christmas lunch with forced smiles, feeling outside everything. When the opportunity for a proper homecoming came, it was 2 years after the viral video, almost to the day. The city of Johannesburg hosted a showcase for young creatives, musicians, artists, designers. I was invited to headline the fashion show, an honor my 16-year-old self would have begged for. They sent black cars for me and my models. My face was on billboard posters, my name a bold, clean font. A week before the show, I finally called my mother. "Ma," I said, my voice barely steady, "I want you to come." She was quiet. "Then your father is also, he asks how you are sometimes. I want all of you there, I have something to show you." She agreed, though doubt lingered in her tired laugh. The night of the show, the city shuddered with electricity. Even the taxis seemed to slow outside the glittering Civic Theatre. My name was on the program, right below the title. Johannesburg refashioned. My models, girls and boys from every side of the city, friends who had stuck with me through those dark market days, were buzzing, laughter and nerves mingling backstage. I saw my family before the house lights dropped, my mother, father, Zainal, my brother, even Tandy. They were stiffer than everyone else, shoes shined awkwardly, eyes darting. I watched from behind the heavy curtain unseen. The crowd hushed. Music boomed, thick with drum and synth, my favorite track pounding through the darkness. When the first model stepped out, a tall, dark-skinned man in my electric blue duster coat with beadwork trailing like constellations, the room exhaled. Each piece that followed built a story: mesh and velvet, traditional beads, city patterns, fabrics sourced from corners of Joburg, each stitch a rejection remade into armor. I peeked at my family. My mother's hand pressed over her mouth, eyes wide but shining. My father sat stony-faced, but his gaze was fixed, unmoving. Even Tandy's phone, usually a weapon for wisecracks, was recording, her face soft with something that looked like wonder. The finale quieted the room. My youngest model, a little girl from Hillbrow, walked in a patchwork dress, part old blankets, part shweshwe, with a train that glimmered from every beadwork memory I had of my grandmother. She stopped mid-stage, spun slowly. The applause was thunderous. Backstage, I crumpled, sobbing, relief, pride, exhaustion spiraling out at once. Someone handed me a glass of water, then ushered me to the front for a bow. As I walked out, the lights were blinding. The crowd stood. I found my family in the scrub of faces, my mother crying freely now, my father blinking hard, Zainal giddy as a child. The applause was a tide, and for the first time I allowed it to wash over me. Afterward, the foyer buzzed with strangers praising my work, shaking my hand, asking for interviews, but I headed for my family. They were silent at first. Then Ma lunged, arms locking around me, whispering, "You were right, Ementanam, you were right all along." My brother grinned, ashamed but proud, saying, "You made it. You really made it." Even my father pressed my shoulder, squeezing, and said, just barely above a whisper, "I didn't see Luyanda, I see it now." Zainal posted a new video that night. Me hugging my mother, the collection glowing behind us under violet lights, the crowd cheering, the caption, "From TikTok joke to the pride of the city, our Luyanda." There were still mockers, always will be. But their voices were drowned by my own, steadier, truer, rising from the part of me that refused to give up, that believed in the vision, that stitched my story into my clothes. Returning home that night, driving through the city's midnight quiet, I opened my window to the cold air, feeling the city rush past. Johannesburg was still tough, still wild. But now, when I passed by crowds and shimmering lights, I no longer felt the weight of old ridicule. I carried the proof with me, in my stitches, in applause, in my family's eyes finally open. For the first time, I belonged entirely, not in spite of my dreams, but because I never abandoned them.